while ago I reviewed the Xiaomi Yi camera. At the time the weather wasn't so great, so I said once the weather improves I'll take it out on the motorcycle and show you some footage, and that's exactly what you're looking at now. The only problem is when I went back and looked at how YouTube had re-encoded this footage, it looked terrible. And I want to go into a little bit more detail here about why that happens and why you shouldn't expect 1080p 60 to look better than 1080p 30. Before all my sample clips I always put this little disclaimer on. It explains that the YouTube re-encoding process quite often makes decent looking video look blocky. And a lot of people don't understand why that would happen. Why would YouTube video look worse than the original? Well, I'll try and explain as best as I can. This is a video now I've uploaded to YouTube. Obviously you're watching it on YouTube, and this is going to look terrible. The thing is, at the time I'm looking at this now, when I'm editing it, it looks great. Now this bit will probably look okay to you here, but the bit before when I went under the trees was terrible. Now if I slow it down, it might start looking better to you. I hope it does. That's what my intention is. I'm showing less frames per second, therefore there's less changes per second, therefore the bit rate's able to cope. And if I slow it down even slower, it might look jerky, but you'll be able to make out more detail on things like the speedo and the walls and things. It'll look quite a bit sharper than that first clip. Now the problem with re-encoding is the fact that I've got a 25 megabit file here that I uploaded in 1080p 60. It's nothing to do with your download speed, don't worry too much about that. I mean, I've got 125 megabits down, so it's totally fine. I could cope with that original file in its full format, but YouTube has to re-encode things so everyone can watch it, and by doing that it throws away a lot of data. If I'm looking at my YouTube clip from before and I do various pauses in it, look at the quality at the bottom there. Everything goes into some sort of pixel Lego vision. It looks terrible when I go under those trees. However, this bit doesn't look too bad at all if I pause it there. That's because there's less happening in the screen. There's a lot of blue sky, doesn't need to change things every frame. Now if I go into QuickTime, and I'm going to show you the original clip here again, it's going to look just the same as the YouTube one, probably pretty terrible. However, if I do freeze frames on this, just look how sharp that is at the bottom where the speedo is. You can see the speed, you can even read the tom-tom on the mount on the handlebars there, as well as make out detail in the brickwork on this house. Now if I do it slow, it might still retain some of that quality and not get particularly blocky. I'm hoping it will, but there's no way for me to tell at the moment while I'm looking at this before I upload it up to YouTube. So 1080p 60, we've got more frames per second, therefore there's even more data. That's going to look even worse than 1080p 30 because there's only so much bit rate to go around. Now if we look at some freeze frames out of the original file, this one isn't too bad. This is the original and that's the YouTube one. Don't notice too much difference, but if I crop in a little bit you might see some more. Look at the speedo again at the front there, and that's the original file and that's the YouTube one. Notice how it goes quite a bit softer. Also pay special attention to the grass on the left. Look at all that grass, the green stuff, and there, look, see it's all sharper there. So you're losing a lot of data even on the good looking stuff, but this is one of the worst case scenarios. Going under these trees, lots happening, that's the original. And then if we flip over into the YouTube version, look at that, that's terrible. It's like a watercolor painting or something. If we put them side by side, it's pretty clear what's going on there. So YouTube's just thrown away loads of data because it hasn't got enough bandwidth compared to the original. So don't judge the clips that I upload onto YouTube as being representative of the original camera. Something like this will probably look pretty good because we've got a lot of sky in shot. There's not all those trees and shadows and things. This is about as good as it's going to get. There's probably enough data bitrate to go around for shots like this. But when things get a little bit more challenging, the camera itself might be able to cope fine and produce decent quality video. It's just once that's gone up to YouTube, the YouTube re-encoding process can't cope quite as well. And that's why I always have sample clips available to download. There's some links in the video description for sample clips from this particular trip out on my bike. If you want to know how I mounted the camera to get these shots, there's a link up there to that as well. And also I've got a link that'll take you to that 1080p 60 footage on YouTube, which will look pretty terrible, but people do ask for 1080p 60 footage, so be careful what you wish for. Anyway, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.